Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson is doubling down, defending his terrible budget proposal, even though it's clear it'll hurt the city far more than it will help it. Chicago is bleeding money. The city is staring down yet another financial disaster, a $1.1 billion shortfall projected for 2026. And this didn't just happen out of nowhere. Chicago's spending has exploded, up more than 60% since 2019, while taxpayers are being squeezed dry. This isn't a revenue problem, it's a spending addiction. But instead of tightening the belt, Brandon Johnson's answer is the same as every other woke progressive: raise taxes again. This man has been desperate to take more from the people of Chicago. A year ago, he tried raising property taxes, even after promising he wouldn't. He campaigned on it, looked voters in the eye, and said he'd protect them from higher taxes. Then the moment he was in office, he flipped. And the only thing that stopped him was the city council shooting down his proposal. And now he's back, pushing another so-called progressive revenue plan. But let's be real, what he calls progressive revenue, everyone else with a shred of common sense know that his plan will chase even more companies and jobs out of Chicago. As always, if you enjoy the content, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more breakdowns just like this.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson unveiled his 2026 budget plan today. Now, the gap in that budget is bigger than first thought. It is more than $1 billion. Now, the mayor promises no property tax hike and no grocery tax. So where is he going to find the money to plug that hole? Our political reporter Marianne Ahern is here now with the details. Marianne.
Good afternoon, Alex. A key part of the mayor's budget proposal is a corporate head tax. That is a tax on the biggest companies in the city based on how many employees they have. It's something the city got rid of more than a decade ago, but now the mayor wants to bring it back, and already it's proving to be a tough sell.
And then finally eliminating the head tax.
Getting rid of the corporate head tax was a cornerstone of Rahm Emanuel's first mayoral campaign. Mayor Brandon Johnson's 2026 budget proposal would not only revive, but steeply increase the tax on big companies. He's pitching it as a way to fund community safety.
And so we are asking big tech to chip in. We are asking corporate landlords and yacht owners to chip in, but we are also asking the larger corporations to step up in this moment.
The tax would apply to companies with at least 100 employees, about 3% of corporations in Chicago. They would have to pay $21 per employee each month. It's drawing criticism from business leaders and aldermen concerned about jobs.
In 2018 in Seattle, they passed this a similar type thing, and it was repealed less than a month later because of similar concerns. So I suspect that is not going anywhere.
I guess, Mayor, we're all just waiting for you to be specific about what is progressive revenue.
I mean, Tamara, you know what progressive revenue is. Listen, the governor spent his own money for progressive income tax, of which 84% of black
we don't
folks.
Have that. We have a graduated income tax. There's
But your question was, Tamara, respectfully, your question was, what are the specifics? We know the specifics around progressive revenue. What did the Speaker of the House say? He said we should have a millionaire's tax. He said it. The state of Illinois fought for progressive income tax. I know they're looking at a digital ad tax. There's no secret around here of where the money is hyper concentrated. And as Democrats, we're either going to fold to Trump's cuts or we are going to roll him over. And I am saying that as working people, we have to roll over this Trump administration and ensure that we have the revenue to continue to hire people, to continue to educate our children, to continue to make sure that we have good paying jobs, to continue to make sure that we're protecting people's retirement, to make sure that our transportation system is running. The Chicagoland Chamber of Commerce, they're recognizing the economic comeback of Chicago and how Trump's cuts are hurting that. I'm going to present a budget that challenges the ultra rich to pay their fair share in taxes. I'm going to challenge that. Our corporations, particularly those who have received tax cuts from the president, have to put more skin in the game. Look, the president's cuts are real. He's cutting our public education system. He's cutting off our public transportation investments. He's literally withholding over $2 billion for the south side of Chicago. We fought 50 years to get that done. We got it done in my time as mayor. And now he's withholding those dollars. Every single area where descendants of slaves have fought for accommodations by the government, that's what he's attacking.
Have you ever had a moment that changed your life? One accident, one employer who doesn't care, one hospital bill you couldn't pay. That's how quick life can change. And when it does, you realize something fast. The big companies, the insurance giants, they don't care about you. They've got teams of lawyers whose only job is to protect their bottom line. But who's protecting you? There's a reason why it feels like traffic always jams when you're running late. Just like there's a reason Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, Morgan & Morgan has fought for the people, not the powerful. With 1,000 plus attorneys and more than 100 offices nationwide, they've recovered over $25 billion for more than 500,000 clients just like you. Whether you're a 41-year-old family man in Florida, struck by a driver who ran a red light, Morgan & Morgan secured a $9.3 million verdict. Or a father and Little League coach who suffered lasting injuries in a car crash, Morgan & Morgan secured a $6.1 million verdict. When you hire them, it's like hiring a legal army that has your back. Starting a claim is simple. You can get started right now from your phone. No hassle. You can click the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen to see if you have a claim. Their fee is free unless they win. Because when life changes in an instant, you deserve a law firm that's ready to fight for you. Chicago got exactly what it voted for. Another Democrat mayor who will only ruin another major city. Mayor Brandon Johnson actually believes the best way to fix the city's finances is to punish the very companies that keep it alive. He's arguing since corporations got federal tax cuts under Trump, the city of Chicago should now make them pay their fair share by taxing them. So basically, his logic is if you make it easier for businesses to grow, hire, and invest, Chicago will just step in and cancel that benefit. It's insane because those same businesses are the ones that create jobs. Especially for the young people Johnson claims he wants to help. According to him, if we want to fight crime, we just need to spend more money. But okay, then explain this. How do you fight crime by taxing away the jobs people need to survive? And now he's rolling out this ridiculous head tax, or as he likes to call it, the community safety surcharge, a $21 per employee per month fee on companies with over 100 employees. In other words, you're charging businesses for hiring people. That's Johnson's solution, a tax for providing someone with the opportunity to earn a paycheck. And he claims it'll raise about $100 million per year, but all it's really going to do is drive out more employers, shrink opportunity, and send even more families packing. And it seems like the only thing that Brandon Johnson knows how to do well is point the finger as he keeps blaming the Trump administration as the reason Chicago now needs all these progressive revenue proposals. But even local residents can see what this really means and where it's headed if he goes through with it. Take a listen.
Good morning, Marie. Well, Chicago residents are invited to weigh in on this budget proposal. That public comment period wrapped up a short time ago, but will reopen tomorrow at 9:30.
If you all just use that bit of common sense, Chicago might be a better city to live in, because you're going to tax the corporate. What they're going to do is they're going to shut their business down, pack up, and move out. So that's more unemployment that's going to go up.
I don't know how Brandon Johnson came to the conclusion that this made any sense. Think about it. If you were a company and you were looking to grow, every time you wanted to bring on a new employee that would help with that growth, you now have to stop, calculate whether that person is worth the extra cost of the tax. Businesses are built on expansion. Growth means hiring. Hiring means opportunities. And opportunities mean stronger communities. But with this kind of tax, Johnson is creating the opposite effect.
Mayor Johnson doubling down on his calls for corporations and the wealthy to pay more. He repeatedly blamed the Trump administration for why the city needs a number of his progressive revenue proposals. He's now calling on the city council to get behind this plan and support it.
Hey.
Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning.
Mayor Brandon Johnson making the case for his proposed budget one day after he presented it to the city council, where it drew a mix of praise and skepticism. His corporate head tax that will be used to fund summer youth jobs and violence prevention programs would impact companies with more than 100 employees working in Chicago.
And so we believe this is a reasonable approach to generate revenue, to challenge our larger corporations to put more skin in the game, to ensure that we continue to make sure that our communities are driving violence down.
The business community blasted the plan along with other corporate taxes. Did you convene a meeting with labor to discuss savings and efficiency and burden sharing on their part?
Well, we did. Well, first of all, let me just say, the vast majority of our corporate fund is geared towards community safety and public safety as a whole. So what we're talking about is we either challenge our larger corporations to put a little bit more skin in the game, or we cut 1,500 officers from our budget.
The mayor's office clarifying that the corporate taxes prevent the need for any layoffs or a property tax hike at a time when Johnson says Trump's tax cuts are hurting working people.
We're talking about an additional $1,200 per year on average that working people will assume because of Donald Trump's cuts to the ultra rich.
What happens if these big companies have people work remotely or give them part-time work and cut down their numbers?
Well, look, I can't live in hypothetical. What I can say is that we're talking about a community safety fund that will strictly go to ensuring that the mental health and well-being of our police officers is secure.
Well, the majority of that is going for the summer youth jobs, half of it.
Hiring people is a part of our safety plan. In fact, this is why this budget is so critical, right? Because this budget protects us from Trump's cuts. This is what this is about.
This is textbook progressive redistribution. Take from the people who build and hand it to the government that waste. Brandon Johnson isn't rewarding productivity, he's punishing it. You're robbing businesses that create value just to funnel that money into programs meant to hire inner city teens, which sounds noble until you start asking questions such as what real value will they bring, or is this just another handout? It's a disaster, plain and simple. And the truth is, if this plan goes through, Brandon Johnson won't just hurt businesses, he'll bury Chicago's economy.
Every politician is always looking ahead to the next election. This could be seen as giving the business community reason to rally around a challenger. Did you just hand potential challengers a gift with these taxes on businesses?
Here's what we've given. Here's what we've handed. We've handed the people of Chicago an opportunity to lead the charge.
Did you hand them an opportunity to elect someone else in 2027?
So, look, I don't think about my reelection.
Your own budget director said the grocery tax would only cost the average Chicagoans $50 to $60 a year. Why not keep that in the budget and get that estimated $80 million?
Well, look, I mean, it goes back to what I said earlier, that this president has done such an awful job at managing the economic challenges of working people.
The mayor also defending his plan to sweep $1 billion in TIF funds, more than half of which would go to Chicago public schools. What do you say to those who might see this as a budget for CPS, a reward for your allies?
A TIF surplus goes to our city colleges. It goes to our parks. It goes to our libriaries.
But the majority goes to CPS.
Well, because that's the way the law is designed.
Right.
And so investing in CPS, that's a good thing, right? And so what I'm simply saying is that I know that there are people who are thirsty to make it about the Chicago Teachers Union. They're short-sighted. They are short-sighted because the larger, bigger picture ensures that not just our public schools are fully supported at a time in which President Trump is attacking public education.
The mayor told me he's willing to compromise on the details of his proposal, but not the values it represents, namely corporations kick in more so working people don't have to. He called this his protecting Chicago budget, and he said today that it's protecting them from Donald Trump.
The only thing Democrats seem to be good at right now is using Trump to justify their terrible ideas, turning him into the all-purpose scapegoat. And Brandon Johnson is just another example of that. He's not defending a good plan. He's defending a bad one and blaming Trump for it. His logic is simple. If I say Trump enough times, maybe people won't notice this plan doesn't make any sense. But Brandon Johnson isn't serious about cutting costs or reducing crime in Chicago. If he was, he would have worked with federal law enforcement from the very beginning. But he didn't. Democrats rather continue fighting with Trump than fixing the cities they were elected to lead. But let me know, you think Leave your comments down below. As always, if you enjoy the content, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more breakdowns just like this. And stick around for the next video. Hakeem Jeffries and the Democrats dealt major blow after even CNN can't deny Trump is winning. Stick around for that, and I'll see you next time.